Hey, amazing people. It's me again, Tracy Lene. We're still in the fifth agreement. We know the four. Let's repeat them out loud. 1, be impeccable with your word. 2, don't take anything personal. 3, don't make any assumptions. 4, do your best at everything. And then this fifth one, in this fifth book, be skeptical, but learn to listen. I just came from my walk. One of the things that you're going to be blessed to see is me back to health, back to the size that I am most comfortable with. After COVID, I gained 35 pounds. Most people lost weight. Most people gained weight during COVID. Not me. I waited to after COVID to 2022 when I started teaching because they always have some treats and stuff. But I am determined because I'm 56 and I want to never have to be on blood pressure medication or have anything to do with diabetes. I'm going to lose the weight. So the sweating is me just coming from outside. And yeah, I don't really stink, which is good. And I've been using natural deodorant, but I'm sweating. Anyway, let's get started. Like, share, subscribe. We're still in the fifth agreement. I will never be the one who writes your story, just as I will never allow anyone to write mine. I respect your mind, your dream, your creation. I respect whatever you believe. Since I've been doing that with people, life is so peaceful. People get to believe whatever they want to believe. I don't feel the need to encroach upon their beliefs. I don't let them encroach upon mine either. But I don't tell people what to believe. They get to think, be, feel, do whatever they want, and it's okay. Try that. Okay, I respect you when I don't try to tell you how to live your life, how to dress, how to walk, how to talk, how to do whatever you do in your kingdom. As soon as I try to control your kingdom, I'm not respecting you anymore, and we are going to be in a war of controlling for your kingdom. If I try to control you in that intent or control you, I lose my freedom. When you're trying to make somebody else do something the way you want to do it, now you have to focus in all on that, and you're not paying attention to some of the things you need to do. When it comes to relationships, when you marry someone, you take those vows. If you take vows with someone who doesn't take their vows seriously, you got a huge problem because you're not going to control them or change them into taking their vows seriously. They're going to do what they want to do. You have a choice to make. You can either stay and allow them to do what they want to do in peace and you do what you want to do in peace, or you can say, this doesn't work for me anymore because I need somebody who aligns with the vows that I took seriously. And you have to be able to do that. Because you're not going to control them. People say, well, when you get married, you're supposed to do da-da-da, ba-ba-boom, doona-boom, period. No, you're not supposed to do those things if you don't want to do them, but you have an obligation to tell the person you're married to before you marry them, you're not going to do those things. Give them an opportunity. They may be like, you know what, this works for me. I don't know anybody personally with an open relationship, but I see them all on Facebook and they act like they work. I don't know whether they work or not. It wouldn't work for me because it's a whole sexual energy with people having multiple partners that I wouldn't want, because when somebody else is with somebody and they then are with you, you now have that person's energy and you may not want that person's energy inside you. They may be a terrible person. You don't want that. So we go to, then my freedom is to let you be whatever you are, whatever you want to be. It is not my job to change your virtual reality. It is my job to change myself. So if you're with somebody that drinks a lot and you don't drink at all, or you're with somebody that smokes or whatever it is, don't try to make them stop doing what they do. You need to remove yourself and find somebody that's more in alignment with you. That doesn't mean they're going to be perfect, but you may have some core values that you're like, these are my deal breakers. These are the things that no matter what, I'm not going to put up with. And if you have those, you cannot bend on them. The minute you bend on them, you will break. You are the king or the queen of your kingdom. It is your creation. It is where you live, and it is all yours. You are dreaming your kingdom, and you can be intensely happy in your own kingdom. How? First, you need to respect your own kingdom, or very soon that kingdom will be hell and not heaven anymore. When somebody is not telling you the truth, that they're with somebody else and they're lying to you, they don't respect themselves. So they can't respect you because they don't have respect for themselves. And that usually comes crashing down pretty fast. Secondly, you will not allow anyone to disrespect your kingdom. Whoever disrespects your kingdom is going out of your kingdom. It is your kingdom. It is your life. You have the right to live your own life in your own way, and there is no wrong way. The wrong way is just another judgment that we create. Once you have won your personal war, you have no judgments about anything, and other people's judgments don't affect you. Of course, we make mistakes like everybody else. Of course, you make mistakes like everybody else. But there is perfect justice in your head. You pay only once for every mistake, and because you are kind to yourself, because you love yourself, the payment is very little. That's something people think, that when you do something once and you don't repeat it, because there's a difference if you're a repeat offender. The Bible says that the man who returns to his sins is like a fool who returns to the folly. It's like a dog who returns to the vomit. If you do something once, that doesn't make you that. Except for, I guess, if you murder somebody one time, you are a murderer. Yeah, okay. So there's some things that it's just one time and you're it. But let's talk about some of the other things. Like, just because you tell one lie, that doesn't make you a liar. But if you continue to tell lies, then you become a liar. Just because you do something once doesn't mean that you're always going to do that. And the consequence for it usually comes quick and fast and moves on. But if you continue to do it, you become that thing. And you become, like the Bible talks about, when you can't tell the man from the animal, because you begin to have animal instincts. You start to live in your law. It's the Quran that talks about that, when men become as apes. And it's because you are now acting like an animal, so now you look like an animal. Because you are behaving like one. You've decided to be that. That one mistake doesn't make you terrible. And like we said, except for murder. Because if you kill somebody, yeah, you murdered them. So you are a murderer. Or you guys are now changing it to, you can't say dead, it's unalived. I ain't got time for all that. Okay. Perhaps these words that I'm sharing with you will have a meaning that makes sense to the voice that lives in your head. And perhaps that voice can start dreaming with this new information and decide to stop being a tyrant, to stop judging you, to stop punishing you. The day of your last judgment could almost be here. It is up to you. If you can convince the tyrant to stop judging, then very soon everything will change for you. I am 56 years old, and I made a choice when I was 16 that it just allowed me, well, I just released it from myself. That is 40 years ago. I let something that I did 40 years ago still affect me today. That wasn't good. Well, not today, because I let it go. Actually, I let it go about 3 years ago. But I rode by the place and I felt a tinge, and I said, no, we let that go already. We're not there. We don't make that mistake no more. We're done with that. And I feel much better. Imagine that instead of being your adversary, the tyrant becomes your ally. And instead of guiding your life into drama, it helps you to keep the peace. When the tyrant becomes your ally, it never goes against you again. It never sabotages you again. It facilitates whatever you want to create. Then the mind becomes a powerful tool of the spirit. It becomes a powerful ally. The result is a completely different dream, your personal heaven. I also think that we believe that if you live in heaven, that means everything is perfect. You're just running through the meadows and nothing is going in the opposite direction. And that's not true. It's just that you can handle it. You understand that opposition is really there to challenge you to go even further. It's like sandpaper. When I make polymer clay jewelry, the sandpaper smooths it out and makes it look polished. That's what your adversaries are to you. That's what the things that come in your life are for you. They're the sandpaper, and they're just rubbing you the wrong way until you realize, no, this is the right way to help me become the best version of myself. In the dream of heaven, you completely surrender to life, knowing that everything is just the way it is. And because you accept everything just as it is, you no longer worry about anything. Your life becomes exciting because there's no more fear. Try this. Get the song "Don't Worry, Be Happy" by Bob Marley, and the other one that "Don't Worry, Be Happy." Play those songs. Let them just pop up on your phone throughout the day. It is, I mean, the way it makes you feel, the way it changes the energy around you. You just have to try it. And then when you try it, I want you to comment down below and tell me that it worked. I know you're going to tell me that it worked, because I know I ain't wrong about that. Those two songs have the energy that vibrates so high that just letting them come out of the blue, it stops whatever you're thinking about and transforms it into something worth thinking about. Your life becomes exciting because there's no more fear. Doesn't mean there aren't things to fear, but you recognize you don't have to fear them. You can choose not to. You know that you are doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, and that everything that has happened was meant to happen. That one was hard for me. To know that the things that happened were supposed to happen. It's like, wow, why would it have to happen? But it had to happen because I set it in motion for some of the things I did a while ago. The things you neglect have to come back to you. If you allow a person to take liberties, eventually they're going to take more liberties. If you start taking liberties, you're going to take more liberties. So eventually that snowball effect is going to happen, and you're going to have to pay the motherfucking piper. The piper is going to come looking for payment. Just has to. Even when you consider your worst mistakes were meant to happen because they just have led you to a greater awareness. I was talking to somebody at my job, and I'm going to be very vague because I don't know who listens to this. But anyway, they did something that they regretted doing, and we were talking about it. And I said, well, don't live it with regret. Go ahead and accept that you did it. You can't change it. Don't regret it. Look for the good in it. Look for what it came to teach you. And a few days later, the person, I'm not even going to say whether it's a male or female, came back and like, I've been sitting down and thinking about it, and I can see how I got to that. And I say, now you can let yourself off the hook. You can say, yeah, I did make that. It was one of the worst things I could do. And now the consequences may be that this person no longer wants to deal with me. And you have to accept that. They may not want to, and that's okay. Because when you truly love somebody, it's not a selfish love that they belong to you. Mine, mine, mine. People don't belong to people. I used to think that. I used to think if you're in a relationship, you belong to him, he belongs to you. No. People belong to themselves. Their choices are their choices. And if they don't work for you, you have a choice to make. But they don't belong to you. People don't belong to people. Some people will go as far as to say people belong to God. But since I think we are God, then you belong to yourself. Your personality, though, don't belong to nothing but the genetic makeup that came. That personality is going to go when you take your last breath. But that soul is going to travel on and on and on, picking up experiences. So anyway, the person came back a while ago and was very pleased at the way the situation was going, because not only did they humble themselves, because that's what you have to do. When you harm someone, you got to humble yourself. They humble themselves, and they're seeing a better side of themselves too, and they're getting the help they need. That's what you really got to do. Your mistake is your mistake, but you can forgive yourself. Even the worst thing that can happen to you is meant to happen to you because it's going to push you to grow. What is the worst thing that can happen to any of us? To die? No, because we're all going to die, and there's nothing we can do. So death can't be the worst thing because we're all going to die, which means that there's no worst thing, right? Because the end of it all is death. We can enjoy the ride or resist it and suffer. Resistance, however, is futile. We are programmed to be what we are, and we can only be whatever we are. But inside of our virtual reality, we can go against our own programming, and that is how we create a whole world of resistance. The struggling is just a resistance, and resistance creates suffering. When you surrender to life, everything changes just like magic. You surrender to that force that is coming through your body, through your mind, and it's a whole new way to see life. It's a way of being. It is being life. You are happy because you are truth. You are happy wherever you are, whatever you do. Even when you are bored, you enjoy life. Even when you create problems, you enjoy life. You are free, and it is the freedom of the dream master who is not attached to the dream. I'm going to go ahead and finish this chapter. You hook into the dream with your attention and unhook from it whenever you want. The outside dream wants to hook your attention, and you allow it to make the connection, but you can break it at any time. From one moment to another, you can change what you are dreaming and start all over again. You get to change your mind. You don't have to keep doing something the same way because you started doing it that way. At any point, you can say, I don't want to do this anymore. When I was in college, I was dating this guy, and I knew he wasn't going to be my husband, but I liked him, and I knew he wasn't going to be my husband because there were some fundamental things that he did that I knew that I was not going to be able to put up with for the rest of my life, but I was enjoying it and thinking, well, maybe he'll change. Who knows? Anyhow, maybe 6 months into us dating, he says, I don't want to do this no more. And I said, do what? He said, run up and down the street picking flowers. And I said, well, I don't want to do that either. That sounds dumb. And he says, you know what I mean? I said, I don't. When have we done that? When did we run up and down the street picking flowers? He said, no, I mean, I don't want to be in a relationship. This is too much for me. I don't do monogamy well. And I said, okay. And he said, are you mad? And I'm like, no, I'm glad you told me. Now, on the inside, I was hurt because I did like him. So I was living in DC. I came home for the weekend. I had just met my birth father. And I came home for the weekend and I was telling him, and I said, but I'm going to be okay. And he's like, wow, you know, your parents did a good job. And even though he was jealous, although it was his fault, he wasn't in my life. But that's for another story, another time. He said, that's real mature. I said, well, if he doesn't want to be in a relationship, I'm not going to force him to be in one. He doesn't want to be monogamous. And I don't do, you know, just sharing, so it's over. And I'll hurt for a little bit. And I did. I cried. I hurt for a little bit. And then I ended up moving to New York. But before that, so maybe 3 months into it, you know, me recognizing, well, at least he was honest. He calls. Where you been? You don't call nobody. Because we're done. He said, well, you were supposed to chase me. No, I wasn't supposed to do that. I was supposed to listen to your words and honor them. And I'm glad that I did, because we are 56 and his sister and I are still friends and he's still single. So good thing I listened to him the first time. Sometimes women don't do that. You think you're going to change that man. Oh, he's just waiting for me. Yeah, I know he got a girlfriend, but she don't do for him what I can do for him. Girl, bye. You going to find out the hard way. Anyway, he changed his mind, and he had a right to change his mind. And while it did hurt my feelings, he changed his mind. It wasn't the end of the world. I said, well, I moved to New York and, you know, forgot about him real quick. In every moment, you make the choice of what you want to keep and what you want to let go of, but not with words. You don't need to make a story, but you can if you want to. In your story, you can blame the whole world for whatever's happening to you, or you can take responsibility for your story. Be the artist, see the story, and change it in whatever way that you want to change it. You can be rich or you can be poor. It's not important. You can have fame or not, and it's not important. To have fame in the world of darkness, I don't think that is fun at all. To be a ruler of hell, I don't think it is fun, but it's a choice, and you can make that choice. If you take responsibility for your creation, you can create anything you want in your life. You can rewrite your story. You can recreate your dream. And if you decide to put your love in your creation, you can change all the stories that used to be a drama in the most wonderful romantic comedies. Perhaps you're not finished with your story, and who knows if you'll ever finish it or not. Honestly, it's not that important. Whatever you do with your life is not that important. Whatever anybody else does with their life is not important, and it's not your business. Hardly anything that is important. Hardly anything is that important. But we can say that one thing is important, and it's life itself. Okay, here we go, because he was losing me. It's life itself. It is intent by itself, the creator. The creation is not that important. The manifestation will change day by day, moment by moment, generation to generation. Life is eternal, but your dream only exists while you live in the physical body. Whatever you did here, you won't take it with you. You don't need it. You never did. You never will. But this does not mean that you will not create. Of course you would create, because it is your nature to create. You are always creating. You are always expressing yourself. You were born an artist, and your art is the expression of your spirit. It is the expression of that force that you are. You know how powerful you are, and that power is real. You know what you learn, and you know that all knowledge is not real. The truth is happening right in front of you. To experience life is to experience truth. To see the truth makes a huge difference in your world. To become the truth is the real goal, because that is the real you. What is not truth is not important. Your desire for the truth and your love for the truth is what is important, and that is the real teaching. And we'll start with the last chapter tomorrow, chapter 13, the 3 languages. So I want to leave you with knowing that even if up to this point in your life you have not been a very honest person, right now you can change and say, I am now an honest person. And guess what? From this moment on, you are an honest person. Does that mean that there may not be some consequences from when you wasn't honest? No. However, the consequences get lightened. It's called grace and mercy. When you change, when you stop on a dime and say, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to learn to be honest. I'm going to learn to, if you feel like you can't tell somebody the so-called truth, then is it really the truth? Is that a person you want to have in your life that you can't be honest with? Only you can answer that. What I can tell you is, one of the, you know how you have those things you love about yourself. One of the things that I love about myself is I'm a pretty honest person. I don't like to be lied to, so I try not to lie. Now, have I lied before? Of course I have, when I wanted to protect myself. But I remember hearing Minister Farrakhan say this back in like 1993. Yeah, I think it was like 1993. He looked in the camera and said, "Stop lying, stop lying, stop lying." And I felt like he was talking to me. I said, "Okay." And then he said, "Because who is anybody that you got to lie to?" He said, at the end of it all, it's between you and the Creator. So the only person you lying to is God. And when you lie to the God in you, you become a whole mess. So that was a defining moment in my life. And I thought, okay, well, I can tell the truth. Now, have I lied since then? Yes. Because there have been times where I'm like, well, I don't want to be in trouble, so I'm going to tell this lie. Okay, I'm going to say, it always comes back though. So then I decided, just stop lying, girl. It ain't worth it. They're what we call smaller lies, and then there are lies that change people's lives, or so we think. But that smaller lie changes lives too. So just stop lying. And don't say it's a little white lie, like, ooh, white is better. No, it's a lie. So stop lying. Anywho, I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you like it, that you share it, and that you, if you're not subscribed, that you subscribe, because we're going to get through this book, and then we're going to read, it's too far over, but we're going to read Marianne Williamson's book next. And then after that book, we're going to go to James Allen. I got a whole list of books to go through. So I'm really excited, and I'm going to be here because I've committed to at least 1 year of doing this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mwah.